Spain, a country where Roman aqueducts still carry water after 2 millennia, where entire cities are carved into cliffsides like ancient theaters, and where forests of stone pillars rise from the earth as if giants once played chess here. This is Spain, a land where every province holds secrets that would be national treasures anywhere else, yet here they're simply part of the landscape. From the moment you cross into this Iberian wonderland, you're stepping into a living museum where nature and human ambition have collaborated for thousands of years. Here, medieval fortresses crown impossible peaks, underground cathedrals carved from salt stretch for miles, and beaches exist that look like they've been painted by the gods themselves. This isn't just a country, it's a masterpiece painted across 195,000 square miles, where every brushstroke tells a story of conquest, creativity, and natural wonder. Today, we're embarking on a journey through Spain's most breathtaking marvels, 12 wonders that will challenge everything you thought you knew about this magnificent nation. From the volcanic landscapes of the Canary Islands to the snow-capped peaks of the Pyrenees, from underwater forests to cities that defy gravity, these aren't just destinations, they're windows into the soul of a country that has spent millennia perfecting the art of being extraordinary. So settle in, because we're about to discover why Spain doesn't just have beautiful places, it has places that redefine what beauty means. Number 12. Park Güell, Barcelona. In the heart of Barcelona, where the Mediterranean breeze carries the scent of orange blossoms and churros, sits a wonderland that looks like it was dreamed by a child and built by a genius. Park Güell isn't just a park, it's Antoni Gaudí's love letter to organic architecture, a place where buildings grow like trees and pathways flow like rivers. Walking through Park Güell feels like stepping into a fairy tale written in stone and ceramic. The famous serpentine bench covered in millions of colorful mosaic pieces curves along the main terrace for 500 feet, offering panoramic views of Barcelona sprawling toward the sea. But this isn't just decoration, it's revolutionary engineering disguised as art. The bench's undulating form perfectly distributes weight while providing natural drainage, proving that Gaudí was as much scientist as artist. The park's most iconic feature, the colorful mosaic salamander known as El Drac, guards the main staircase like a benevolent dragon. This isn't mere whimsy, the salamander is actually a fountain, its mouth serving as a spout that channels water from an underground cistern. Every detail here serves multiple purposes, from the palm-shaped columns that support the market hall, to the viaducts that seem to grow organically from the hillside. What makes Park Güell truly extraordinary is how it demonstrates Gaudí's revolutionary philosophy that architecture should mimic nature, not fight it. The hypostyle hall, with its 86 columns, creates a forest of stone that feels alive. The acoustics are perfect. Whisper at one end and someone at the other can hear you clearly. This wasn't accident but intention, as Gaudí designed the space to host musical performances. The park's elevated position on Carmel Hill provides breathtaking views of Barcelona, the Mediterranean, and on clear days, the distant peaks of Montserrat. But the real magic happens during sunset, when the golden light transforms the mosaic surfaces into a kaleidoscope of colors that seems to pulse with life. UNESCO recognized Park Güell as a World Heritage Site not just for its beauty, but for its revolutionary approach to urban planning and architectural harmony. Standing here, surrounded by Gaudí's organic masterpiece, you realize you're not just visiting a park, you're experiencing the vision of a man who saw the future of architecture and made it beautiful. Number 11. Ronda, Andalusia. Perched on a dramatic gorge that splits the earth like a jagged scar, Ronda is a city that shouldn't exist, yet here it stands, defying gravity and logic with breathtaking audacity. This ancient Andalusian town, balanced precariously on cliffs that plunge 390 feet into the Guadalquivir River Valley, has been turning visitors into poets for centuries. The Puente Nuevo, Ronda's most famous landmark, is an 18th-century engineering marvel that spans the gorge like a stone rainbow. This isn't just a bridge, it's an act of architectural rebellion against the impossible. Built over 34 years, it connects the old Moorish town with the newer district, but its real purpose seems to be proving that humans can create beauty even in the most challenging circumstances. The bridge's chambers once served as a prison, and during the Spanish Civil War, its dramatic setting made it a focal point of local legend and tragedy. But Ronda's magic extends far beyond its famous bridge. The Plaza de Toros, built in 1785, is considered the birthplace of modern bullfighting and one of the oldest and most beautiful bull rings in Spain. Its perfectly circular architecture and elegant two-story facade create an amphitheater that seems to have been carved from honey-colored stone. Even if you never witness a bullfight, standing in this arena transports you to the heart of Spanish tradition and passion. The old town, La Ciudad, is a maze of narrow streets where Moorish influence whispers from every corner. Here, the Palacio de Mondragón showcases intricate mudéjar architecture with courtyards that seem to float in time. The building's terraced gardens offer views across the valley that stretch to the Mediterranean on clear days, while its interior houses archaeological treasures that span from Neolithic times to the Islamic period. What makes Ronda truly extraordinary is how it demonstrates the Spanish mastery of making the impossible appear effortless. The town's location made it impregnable for centuries. Romans, Moors, and Christians all fought to control this strategic mountain fortress. Yet today, it feels like a place designed purely for contemplation and wonder. The surrounding countryside adds another layer to Ronda's appeal. The Serranía de Ronda, with its olive groves, vineyards, and whitewashed villages, creates a landscape that looks like it was painted by the masters. The nearby Paleta Cave contains some of Europe's oldest cave paintings, adding 25,000 years of human history to this already rich region. Standing on Ronda's cliffs at sunset, watching the light paint the gorge in shades of gold and crimson, you understand why this place has inspired everyone from Hemingway to Rilke. This isn't just a town, it's proof that humans can create something magical when they refuse to accept limitations. Number 10. Cueva de las Maravillas, Aracena. Deep beneath the rolling hills of Huelva province, where cork oaks dot the landscape like scattered emeralds, lies one of Spain's most spectacular underground cathedrals. The Cueva de las Maravillas, the Cave of Wonders, lives up to its name with a subterranean world that transforms darkness into a gallery of natural sculpture. Discovered in 1886, this limestone cave system extends for over 2,000 meters beneath the charming town of Aracena, though only 1,200 meters are open to the public. What awaits visitors is a journey through geological time, where water and limestone have collaborated for millions of years to create an underground palace that rivals any human architecture. The cave's most breathtaking feature is its series of interconnected chambers, each with its own personality and geological character. The Sala de los Gours showcases terraced pools that look like frozen waterfalls, their calcite formations creating natural amphitheaters where every footstep echoes with cathedral-like resonance. The lighting system, carefully designed to preserve the cave's delicate ecosystem, transforms these formations into a landscape that seems to glow from within. But the true masterpiece is the Sala de los Volcanes, where enormous flowstone formations create shapes that appear almost architectural. Massive columns stretch from floor to ceiling, some taking hundreds of thousands of years to form. The acoustics here are extraordinary. The chamber serves as a natural concert hall where even whispers carry with perfect clarity. The cave's consistent temperature of 16 to 19 degrees Celsius year-round creates its own microclimate, supporting unique bacterial communities that contribute to the ongoing formation of these spectacular structures. What makes the Cueva de las Maravillas particularly special is its active geological processes. Unlike many show caves, this one is still growing. You can actually hear the cave working, the gentle drip of water continuing the slow process of creation that began millions of years ago. The stalactites and stalagmites aren't museum pieces, they're living sculptures that grow incrementally with each passing year. The cave's entrance, built into the hillside beneath Aracena Castle, adds another layer of historical depth to the experience. The medieval fortress above, with its mix of Islamic and Christian architecture, creates a journey through time that spans from geological prehistory to human history. The town of Aracena itself, with its cobblestone streets and traditional Andalusian architecture, provides the perfect frame for this underground wonder. The surrounding Sierra de Aracena Natural Park adds ecological significance to the cave's geological importance. This region, famous for its jamón ibérico and chestnut forests, represents one of Spain's most pristine natural environments. The cave serves as a keystone in this ecosystem, its underground rivers feeding the region's surface waters and supporting the diverse wildlife that makes this area a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. Standing in the cave's deepest accessible chamber, surrounded by formations that took millennia to create, you realize you're not just underground. You're inside the Earth's imagination, witnessing the planet's capacity for creating beauty in the most unlikely places. Number 9. Picos de Europa, Asturias. Where the Cantabrian Mountains meet the Atlantic Ocean, a range of peaks rises so dramatically from the sea that they seem to pierce the sky itself. The Picos de Europa, the peaks of Europe, earned their name from medieval sailors who used these towering limestone spires as their first glimpse of the European mainland when returning from the Americas. This isn't just a mountain range, it's a geological masterpiece where glacial valleys carve through limestone peaks that soar over 8,000 feet above sea level. The Naranjo de Bulnes, the range's most iconic peak, stands like a limestone cathedral spire, its sheer walls attracting climbers from around the world, while its surrounding meadows burst with wildflowers that exist nowhere else on Earth. The Picos de Europa contains Spain's deepest cave system, with the Torca del Cerro del Cuevon plunging over 5,000 feet into the earth. But it's the landscape above ground that truly captivates visitors. Ancient glacial lakes known as Lagos Glaciares dot the high valleys like mirrors reflecting the sky. Lake Enol and Lake Ursina, situated at over 3,000 feet elevation, create an alpine paradise where grazing cattle and horses share the pastures with endangered wildlife. The region's biodiversity is staggering. This is one of Europe's last refuges for the Iberian brown bear, with approximately 200 individuals roaming these forests and meadows. Golden eagles soar overhead while chamois navigate the cliff faces with impossible grace. The forests themselves tell the story of Europe's ecological past, ancient beech and oak woodlands that have survived ice ages and human expansion. But the Picos de Europa's true magic lies in its cultural landscape. The traditional villages scattered throughout the region, like Cangastiones and Covadonga, preserve centuries-old traditions of cheese-making, cider production, and seasonal migration. The famous Cabrales cheese, aged in the natural caves of these mountains, represents a perfect marriage of geology and gastronomy that has remained unchanged for over 1,000 years. The Cares Gorge, known as the Divine Gorge, showcases the region's most spectacular engineering feat. A narrow pathway carved into the cliff face follows the Cares River for 12 kilometers, threading between walls that rise 1,000 feet on either side. This isn't just a hiking trail, it's a journey through geological time, where every bend reveals another chapter in the story of how water shapes stone. The region's weather patterns create a unique phenomenon where Atlantic storms clash with Mediterranean influences, producing dramatic cloud formations and microclimates that change within minutes. Standing on the peaks during a storm, you can watch weather systems battle across the landscape, creating a dynamic theater where nature displays its full range of moods. The Picos de Europa represent more than just natural beauty. They're a testament to the power of geological forces to create landscapes that inspire awe and humility. These peaks have watched over human history for millennia, serving as refugees during invasions, sources of inspiration for artists and writers, and guardians of traditions that connect us to our deepest roots. Number 8. Guggenheim Museum Bilbao, Basque Country. In the industrial heart of Bilbao, where the Nervion River winds through a city that once breathed smoke and steel, rises a building that redefined what architecture could be, the Guggenheim Museum. Bilbao isn't just a museum, it's a sculpture you can walk through, a building that seems to have been shaped by the wind itself. Frank Gehry's titanium masterpiece, opened in 1997, doesn't follow traditional architectural rules. Instead, it flows like liquid metal, its 33,000 titanium panels catching light and shadow in ways that make the building appear to move throughout the day. The structure's organic forms seem to grow from the riverbank, creating a dialogue between industrial heritage and artistic vision that has become synonymous with urban renewal. The building's most striking feature is its interplay with light and water. The titanium skin, barely thicker than paper, reflects the changing Basque sky and the river's movement, creating a surface that's never the same twice. During sunrise and sunset, the museum becomes a beacon of gold and silver light that can be seen from miles away. The effect is so dramatic that the building itself has become one of the world's most photographed architectural landmarks. Inside, the museum's galleries showcase the building's revolutionary approach to space. The central atrium, rising 165 feet, creates a sense of weightlessness that makes visitors feel as though they're floating. The curved walls and unconventional angles challenge traditional exhibition design, requiring curators to think three-dimensionally about how art and architecture interact. But the Guggenheim's impact extends far beyond its walls. The Bilbao effect has become a term used worldwide to describe how a single architectural project can transform an entire city. Before the museum's construction, Bilbao was a declining industrial center. Today, it's a thriving cultural destination that attracts over 1 million visitors annually, proving that investment in culture can drive economic renewal. The museum's location adds another layer of significance. Bilbao sits in the heart of Basque Country, a region with its own language, culture, and fierce independence. The Guggenheim represents a bridge between Basque tradition and global modernity, housed in a building that honors the region's industrial heritage while pointing toward its cultural future. The surrounding cityscape has been transformed to complement the museum's presence. The Zubizuri Bridge, designed by Santiago Calatrava, creates a white arch that mirrors the museum's curves. The riverside promenade connects the museum to the old town, creating a cultural corridor that celebrates both Bilbao's industrial past and its artistic present. What makes the Guggenheim truly extraordinary is how it demonstrates architecture's power to change not just skylines but entire societies. The building's success sparked a global conversation about the relationship between culture and urban development, proving that bold architectural vision can create social and economic transformation. Standing before the Guggenheim at dusk, watching the titanium skin glow like molten metal while the Nervion River reflects its light, you witness more than just a building. You see proof that human creativity can reshape the world, one extraordinary structure at a time. Number 7. Camino de Santiago, Galicia. Across the misty hills of Galicia, where ancient oak forests whisper secrets to the wind and stone crosses mark thousand-year-old paths, runs a route that has shaped European culture for over a millennium. The Camino de Santiago isn't just a pilgrimage route, it's a living river of human experience that has carried millions of footsteps, dreams and stories across the Spanish countryside. The final stretch of this legendary pilgrimage, the Camino Frances, leads through Galicia's rolling green landscape to Santiago de Compostela, where the supposed tomb of the Apostle James lies beneath one of Christianity's most magnificent cathedrals. But the journey's true magic lies not in its destination, but in the transformation of landscape and spirit that occurs along these ancient pathways. The route winds through landscapes that seem designed by the gods themselves. Medieval stone bridges arch over rivers that have carved valleys through granite mountains. Ancient chestnut forests create green cathedrals where shafts of sunlight pierce the canopy like natural stained glass. The path crosses high moorlands where mist clings to heather and gorse, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that makes every step feel like a journey through time. What makes the Camino truly extraordinary is how it demonstrates the power of human movement to create culture. For over 1,000 years, pilgrims have walked these paths, creating a network of churches, monasteries, hospitals and villages that exist solely to serve travelers. The route became medieval Europe's first tourist infrastructure, complete with the world's first travel guide, written in the 12th century. The landscape itself bears the marks of this human river. Stone markers, called mojones, guide pilgrims across hundreds of miles of countryside. Ancient bridges like the medieval span at Astorga carry walkers across rivers that have witnessed a millennium of human passage. The route's hostels, known as alberghi, create communities where strangers become family for a night, sharing stories and dreams in dozens of languages. But the Camino's most profound impact lies in its relationship with the Galician landscape. This region, with its Celtic heritage and maritime climate, feels more like Ireland than Mediterranean Spain. The eucalyptus forests planted in recent decades create a controversial backdrop for ancient paths, while traditional horreos, raised granaries, dot the countryside like scattered sculptures, preserving grain storage techniques that haven't changed in centuries. The final approach to Santiago de Compostela, across the Monte do Gozo, Mount of Joy, provides one of Europe's most emotionally powerful vistas. After days or weeks of walking, pilgrims crest this hill to see the cathedral's towers rising from the medieval city below. The moment represents not just the end of a journey, but the culmination of a transformative experience that has changed lives for over 1,000 years. The cathedral itself, with its Baroque facade and Romanesque interior, creates a fitting climax to the pilgrimage. The Botafumero, a massive incense burner that swings across the transept, fills the space with fragrant smoke that seems to carry prayers skyward. The Portico de la Gloria, with its intricate 12th century sculpture, represents one of medieval Europe's greatest artistic achievements. Walking the Camino today, you join an unbroken chain of human experience that stretches back over a millennium. Each step connects you to everyone who has walked this path before, creating a sense of continuity that transcends individual experience and becomes something larger, a testament to humanity's eternal search for meaning, beauty, and connection. Number 6, Alhambra, Granada. And just when you think it can't get better, wait until you see number 1. High above Granada, where the Sierra Nevada mountains create a snow-capped backdrop for one of humanity's most exquisite architectural achievements, stands the Alhambra. A palace complex that represents the pinnacle of Islamic art and architecture in Europe. This isn't just a building, it's poetry written in stone, water, and light. The Alhambra's name comes from the Arabic al-Qala al-Hamra, meaning the red fortress, referring to the warm color of its walls at sunset. But this fortress is unlike any other. It's a city within a city, a paradise crafted by the Nasrid dynasty during the 13th and 14th centuries as their last stronghold in Christian Spain. The Palace of the Lions represents the complex's most breathtaking achievement. Its central courtyard, with its fountains supported by 12 marble lions, creates a perfect marriage of architecture and hydraulic engineering. The surrounding gallery, with its forest of 124 marble columns, seems to defy gravity while creating an interplay of light and shadow that changes throughout the day. The honeycomb vaulting, called muqarnas, transforms the ceiling into a three-dimensional representation of Islamic geometric principles. But the Alhambra's true genius lies in its integration of architecture with landscape. The Generalife Gardens, with their terraced pools and fountains, create a microclimate that provides cooling relief from Andalusian heat, while demonstrating Islamic concepts of paradise. The sound of water is everywhere, not just decoration but a sophisticated climate control system that uses evaporation and air circulation to cool the palace naturally. The complex's tile work, called azulejos, showcases mathematical precision transformed into art. Geometric patterns repeat infinitely without beginning or end, representing Islamic concepts of the divine while creating surfaces that seem to shimmer with inner light. The Hall of the Abencerrages, with its star-shaped dome pierced by windows, creates a space where geometry becomes transcendent. What makes the Alhambra particularly poignant is its historical context. Built during the final centuries of Islamic rule in Spain, it represents a golden age of cultural synthesis where Islamic, Christian, and Jewish traditions influenced each other. The palace's decoration includes Arabic calligraphy that transforms religious and poetic texts into visual art, creating spaces where architecture becomes literature. The view from the Alhambra encompasses the entire sweep of Granada and the Vega Plain beyond, with the Sierra Nevada providing a dramatic backdrop. This wasn't just aesthetic choice, but strategic positioning. The palace served as both residence and fortress, beautiful enough to inspire poetry yet positioned to control the surrounding territory. The preservation of the Alhambra represents one of history's most successful conservation efforts. Despite centuries of neglect and inappropriate alterations, the complex has been restored to reveal its original splendor. The ongoing restoration work uses traditional techniques and materials, ensuring that this masterpiece continues to inspire wonder for future generations. If this journey has already left you breathless, hit that subscribe button. We're only halfway through. Standing in the Court of the Lions at sunset, watching the last light filter through the marble columns while the fountain's water catches the golden rays, you experience more than just architectural beauty. You witness the moment when human creativity transcends its limitations and creates something that seems to touch the eternal. Number 5, Cabo de Gata Níjar Natural Park, Almeria. In the southeastern corner of Spain, where the Mediterranean meets the Sahara's northern edge, lies a landscape so otherworldly that it has stood in for alien planets in countless films. Cabo de Gata Níjar Natural Park isn't just Spain's largest coastal protected area. It's a geological masterpiece where volcanic origins have created a desert by the sea. This 140,000-acre park represents Europe's most arid landscape, receiving less than 200 millimeters of rainfall annually. But this apparent harshness has created an ecosystem of stunning beauty and remarkable resilience. The park's volcanic origins, dating back 15 million years, have created a coastline of dramatic cliffs, hidden coves, and beaches that seem to have been sculpted by giants. The park's most iconic feature is its coastline, where golden cliffs drop into crystalline waters that rival the Caribbean for clarity. Playa de Monsal, with its distinctive volcanic rock formations, creates a lunar landscape where each tide pool becomes a natural aquarium. The beach's most famous feature, a massive volcanic boulder that sits on the sand like a misplaced meteorite, has become an iconic symbol of Spain's natural diversity. But the park's true miracle lies in its biodiversity. Despite the arid conditions, over 1,000 plant species thrive here, with many found nowhere else on Earth. The park serves as a crucial stopover for migrating birds, with over 200 species recorded, including flamingos that turn the salt flats pink during their seasonal visits. The surrounding waters support populations of dolphins, sea turtles, and the Mediterranean's largest seagrass meadows. The region's human history adds another layer of fascination. Traditional salt flats worked for centuries create geometric patterns that mirror the landscape's natural beauty. The village of Cabo de Gata, with its lighthouse and traditional fishing boats, represents a way of life that has remained unchanged for generations. The park's cortijos, traditional farmhouses, dot the landscape like scattered white pearls, their thick walls and small windows perfectly adapted to the harsh climate. The park's geological diversity creates microclimates that support surprising variety. The Rambla de Morales, a seasonal river valley, creates an oasis effect where palm trees and oleanders flourish in hidden corners. The Sierra de Cabo de Gata, rising 1,600 feet above sea level, provides panoramic views that stretch across the Mediterranean to the mountains of North Africa. What makes Cabo de Gata Nijar truly extraordinary is how it demonstrates nature's ability to create beauty in the most challenging conditions. The park's plants have evolved extraordinary adaptations: succulents that store water in their leaves, shrubs that reflect sunlight with silvery foliage, and flowers that bloom briefly but brilliantly after rare rainfall events. The park's underwater landscape is equally spectacular. The seagrass meadows support fish populations that have largely disappeared from other Mediterranean waters. The rocky coastline creates diving conditions that attract underwater photographers from around the world, with visibility often exceeding 30 meters. The traditional fishing villages scattered throughout the park, like Las Negras and Agua Amarga, preserve a way of life that has remained in harmony with this harsh but beautiful environment. The local cuisine, featuring fish caught daily and vegetables grown in the park's few fertile valleys, represents the ultimate expression of terroir, food that tastes of the land and sea that produces it. Standing on the cliffs at sunset, watching the light transform the volcanic landscape into a palette of gold and crimson, while the Mediterranean stretches endlessly toward Africa, you realize you're witnessing one of Europe's last true wildernesses, a place where nature still writes the rules and humans have learned to listen. Number 4. Teide National Park, Tenerife. Rising from the Atlantic Ocean like a volcanic dream, Mount Teide dominates the Canary Islands skyline as Spain's highest peak and the world's third-largest volcanic structure. But Teide National Park isn't just about the mountain, it's about standing on another planet without leaving Earth. At 12,198 feet above sea level, Mount Teide creates its own weather systems, often wearing a crown of clouds while the rest of Tenerife basks in sunshine below. The mountain's volcanic landscape, created by eruptions spanning 3 million years, has produced a terrain so otherworldly that NASA uses it to train astronauts for Mars missions. The park's 75 square miles contain landscapes that seem designed by science fiction writers rather than geological processes. The ascent to Teide's summit reveals the mountain's extraordinary diversity. The journey begins in subtropical forests where laurel and pine trees create green tunnels of shade. As elevation increases, the vegetation becomes increasingly sparse until you reach the alpine zone, where only the hardiest plants survive. The endemic tide violet, found nowhere else on Earth, blooms in cracks in the volcanic rock at elevations that would challenge most plant life. The park's most spectacular feature is Las Canadas, a massive volcanic caldera that stretches 10 miles across. This ancient crater, formed by a massive eruption 150,000 years ago, creates a landscape of colored rocks, twisted lava formations, and geological features that seem to change color with the light. The Roques de Garcia, towering rock formations within the caldera, create a natural sculpture garden where erosion has carved volcanic rock into impossible shapes. But Teide's true magic reveals itself at night. The park's elevation and location in the Atlantic create some of the clearest skies in the world, making it one of the planet's premier astronomical observation sites. The Teide Observatory, operated by the Instituto de Astrofísica de Canarias, houses some of the world's most advanced telescopes. On clear nights, the Milky Way stretches across the sky with a brilliance that urban dwellers can barely imagine. The park's volcanic activity continues today, with fumaroles and hot springs providing evidence of the tremendous forces still at work beneath the surface. The sulfur deposits around these vents create yellow and orange stains on the rocks, adding color to a landscape that already seems painted by an artist with an unlimited palette. The endemic flora of Teide National Park represents one of evolution's most remarkable success stories. The Teide broom with its bright red flowers has adapted to survive in volcanic soil that would kill most plants. The park supports over 200 plant species, many found nowhere else on Earth, proving that life finds a way to flourish even in the most challenging conditions. The view from Teide's summit encompasses the entire Canary Island chain, with the Atlantic Ocean stretching to the horizon in all directions. On exceptionally clear days, you can see the distant peaks of other islands rising from the sea like a chain of volcanic jewels. The sunrise from the summit, known as the Sea of Clouds, creates a moment when you stand above the cloud layer, watching the sun emerge from the ocean, while the world below remains shrouded in mist. The park's geological significance extends beyond its beauty. Teide's volcanic activity has created a natural laboratory where scientists study volcanic processes, climate change, and the limits of life on Earth. The mountain's role in weather patterns affects the entire Canary Island chain, creating the trade winds that have shaped maritime history for centuries. Standing on Teide's summit, above the clouds and closer to space than to sea level, you experience one of the most profound perspective shifts available on Earth. Here, the curvature of the planet becomes visible, the atmosphere appears as a thin blue line, and the volcanic landscape stretches below like a map of an alien world, reminding you that our planet is capable of creating wonders that surpass imagination. Number 3. Santiago de Compostela Cathedral, Galicia. In the heart of Galicia, where mist clings to ancient stones and pilgrims have walked for over 1,000 years, stands a cathedral that represents more than just religious architecture. It's the beating heart of medieval Europe's most enduring cultural phenomenon. The Santiago de Compostela Cathedral isn't just a building, it's the culmination of humanity's longest-running spiritual and cultural journey. The cathedral's Baroque facade, completed in the 18th century, creates one of the most dramatic architectural entrances in Europe. The Obradoiro facade rises 230 feet into the Galician sky, its twin towers framing a composition that seems to dance with carved stone figures, architectural details, and decorative elements that took centuries to complete. But this ornate exterior conceals a Romanesque interior that represents one of medieval Europe's greatest architectural achievements. The Portico della Gloria, created by Master Matteo in the 12th century, transforms the cathedral's entrance into a carved representation of the celestial Jerusalem. The central tympanum depicts Christ in majesty surrounded by the symbols of the four evangelists, while the archivolt contains figures of the 24 elders of the Apocalypse playing musical instruments. The level of detail is extraordinary. Each figure has individual characteristics, and the musical instruments are carved with such precision that musicologists have been able to identify specific medieval musical practices. The cathedral's interior creates a space designed to inspire awe and contemplation. The barrel-vaulted nave, stretching 311 feet from entrance to altar, leads pilgrims through a progression of spaces that builds to the climactic moment of reaching the high altar. The massive columns, decorated with carved capitals depicting biblical scenes and medieval life, support a structure that has stood for nearly 800 years. But the cathedral's most spectacular feature is the Botta Fumero, a massive silver incense burner that weighs 175 pounds and swings across the transept in a 200-foot arc. This isn't just ceremony, it's theater on a grand scale, requiring 8 men to operate the pulley system that sends the incense burner soaring through the cathedral's height. The sight of the Botta Fumero in full swing, trailing fragrant smoke while suspended 80 feet above the floor, creates a moment of transcendence that has moved pilgrims for centuries. The cathedral's acoustic properties represent another marvel of medieval engineering. The building's proportions create perfect resonance for Gregorian chant, with the stone walls and vaulted ceilings providing natural amplification that carries voices throughout the vast space. The choir stalls, carved from walnut in the 16th century, create an intimate space within the grand architecture where the cathedral's musical tradition continues today. The cathedral's role as the destination of the Camino de Santiago has made it a repository of European cultural history. The building houses an extraordinary collection of medieval art, including the silver altarpiece that covers the high altar and the carved stone choir that represents some of the finest examples of Gothic sculpture in Spain. The Cathedral Museum contains artifacts that tell the story of the pilgrimage, from medieval pilgrim badges to contemporary art inspired by the Camino. The plaza surrounding the cathedral, the Praça do Obradoiro, creates one of Europe's most magnificent urban spaces. The cathedral facade faces the Pazo de Raxoi, now Santiago's City Hall, the Hostal dos Reis Católicos, a parador that has hosted pilgrims for 500 years, and the Pazo de San Jerome, creating an architectural ensemble that spans centuries while maintaining perfect harmony. What makes the Santiago de Compostela Cathedral truly extraordinary is its living tradition. This isn't a museum but a functioning religious center where pilgrims continue to arrive daily, often after walking hundreds of miles across Spain. The daily pilgrim mass, held at noon, provides a moment where ancient tradition meets contemporary faith, creating a continuity that spans over a millennium. Standing before the cathedral's high altar, surrounded by pilgrims from around the world who have walked ancient paths to reach this moment, you realize you're not just visiting a building. You're participating in one of humanity's oldest and most enduring cultural traditions, a testament to the power of faith, art, and human determination to create something larger than individual experience. Number 2. Seville Cathedral and Giralda, Andalusia. In the heart of Seville, where orange trees perfume the air and the Guadalquivir River reflects Moorish palaces, stands a cathedral so magnificent that its builders declared their intention to create something so beautiful that, and I quote, "Those who see it will think us mad." The Seville Cathedral succeeded beyond their wildest dreams, becoming the largest Gothic cathedral in the world, and a UNESCO World Heritage Site that encompasses 500 years of architectural ambition. The cathedral's statistics alone inspire awe. Covering 126,000 square feet, it's the third largest church in the world, with a nave that soars 130 feet toward heaven and a total length of 410 feet. But numbers can't capture the emotional impact of standing beneath its ribbed vaulting, where stone seems to have been woven like fabric into patterns that draw the eye inexorably upward. The cathedral's most iconic feature is La Giralda, the bell tower that serves as Seville's signature landmark. Rising 343 feet above the city, this architectural marvel began life as a minaret for the great mosque that once stood on this site. When Christians conquered Seville in 1248, they kept the minaret and added a Renaissance-style belfry, creating a structure that perfectly embodies Spain's layered cultural history. The genius of La Giralda lies in its construction. Instead of stairs, the tower features a series of ramps that allowed horses to carry materials to the top during construction. Today, these ramps provide visitors with a gradual ascent that reveals changing perspectives of Seville with each turn. The tower's Almohad-style brickwork, decorated with geometric patterns and horseshoe arches, creates a surface that seems to change color throughout the day as shadows shift across its detailed facade. The cathedral's interior contains treasures that span centuries of artistic achievement. The main altarpiece, which is actually the largest in the world, took 80 years to complete and contains over 3,000 carved figures depicting the life of Christ. This golden wall of religious art, rising 65 feet above the high altar, creates a focal point that draws pilgrims and visitors from around the world. The craftsmanship is extraordinary. Every figure has individual characteristics, and the use of gold leaf creates a surface that, honestly, seems to glow with inner light. But perhaps the cathedral's most famous resident is Christopher Columbus, whose elaborate tomb occupies a place of honor in the nave. The monument, featuring 4 pallbearers representing the kingdoms of Castile, Leon, Aragon, and Navarre, creates a theatrical statement about Spain's role in world exploration. Whether Columbus's remains actually rest here remains a matter of scholarly debate, but the tomb's symbolic importance to Spanish identity is undeniable. The cathedral's chapter house contains one of the world's finest collections of religious art, including works by Murillo, Zurbarán, and Goya. The sacristy, with its ornate plasterwork and painted ceilings, demonstrates the extraordinary wealth that flowed through Seville during the Age of Exploration. This cathedral wasn't just a religious center, it was the spiritual heart of an empire that spanned the globe. The Patio de los Naranjos, the orange tree courtyard that serves as the cathedral's entrance, preserves elements of the original mosque while creating a perfect transition between the bustling city and the sacred space within. The courtyard's fountain, used for ritual ablutions during the mosque period, now serves as a reminder of the site's Islamic heritage. The orange trees, planted in perfect geometric rows, create a natural cathedral that complements the stone architecture beyond. What makes Seville Cathedral truly extraordinary is how it demonstrates the power of architectural ambition to create something that transcends its original purpose. Built on the site of Seville's Great Mosque, the cathedral represents not just Christian triumph, but cultural synthesis. Islamic architectural elements blend seamlessly with Gothic innovation, creating a structure that honors the past while reaching toward the future. The view from La Giralda encompasses the entire sweep of Seville, from the meandering Guadalquivir River to the distant hills of Andalusia. The cathedral's position in the city center makes it a natural focal point, with the maze of narrow streets radiating outward like spokes on a wheel. During sunset, the view from the tower transforms Seville into a golden city, where every roof tile seems to glow with warm light. Standing in the cathedral's nave at evening prayer, when the last light filters through the stained glass windows and the space fills with the sound of organ music and chanted prayers, you experience more than just architectural beauty. You witness the moment when human creativity and spiritual aspiration combine to create something that seems to transcend earthly limitations and touch the eternal. In the heart of Barcelona, where modernism meets mysticism and stone learns to dance, rises a building that has been called the greatest work of architecture never completed. The Sagrada Familia isn't just a church, it's Antoni Gaudí's Stone Symphony, a building that seems to grow from the earth like a forest of prayer made permanent. Construction began in 1882, and more than 140 years later, this extraordinary basilica continues to evolve, with completion projected for 2026. But the Sagrada Familia's unfinished state isn't a flaw, it's part of its magic. This is a building that has grown organically across generations, each era adding its own interpretation to Gaudí's revolutionary vision while maintaining the coherence of his original design. The basilica's exterior presents three facades that tell the story of Christ's life through stone sculpture that seems to breathe with life. The Nativity facade, completed during Gaudí's lifetime, showcases his revolutionary approach to religious architecture. Instead of traditional Christian iconography, Gaudí created a natural world where stone flowers bloom eternally, animals inhabit every corner, and the Holy Family seems to emerge from a forest of carved vegetation. The level of detail is staggering. You can identify specific species of plants and animals, all rendered with scientific accuracy and artistic genius. The Passion facade, completed in the 1950s, presents a stark contrast with its angular modernist interpretation of Christ's crucifixion. The sculptor Josep Maria Subirachs created figures that seem to emerge from geometric abstraction, creating a visual tension that makes the entire facade appear to vibrate with emotion. The mathematical precision of the composition, with numbers that add up to 33, Christ's age at death, demonstrates how Gaudí's vision continues to inspire contemporary artists. But the Sagrada Familia's true revolution lies in its interior. Entering the basilica feels like stepping into a stone forest where columns branch like trees toward a canopy of vaulted ceilings. Gaudí studied the structure of trees to create supports that distribute weight naturally, eliminating the need for flying buttresses while creating a space that feels organic rather than constructed. The columns, with their varying diameters and textures, create a rhythm that seems to pulse with life. The basilica's most spectacular feature is its use of light. Gaudí designed the windows to create a symphony of color that changes throughout the day. The eastern windows, representing birth and resurrection, use warm colors, reds, oranges, and yellows, that flood the space with golden light during morning services. The western windows, representing death and judgment, use cooler blues and greens that create a contemplative atmosphere during evening prayers. The towers, when completed, will number 18, representing the 12 apostles, the 4 evangelists, the Virgin Mary, and Christ himself. The central tower, dedicated to Christ, will rise 560 feet, making it the tallest church tower in the world, while remaining 1 meter shorter than Montjuic Hill, Gaudí's way of ensuring that human creation didn't exceed God's natural work. The basilica's acoustic design represents another marvel of Gaudí's genius. The interior's proportions and materials create perfect resonance for both spoken word and choral music. The stone surfaces, carved with organic patterns, provide natural sound diffusion that eliminates echo while maintaining clarity. When the basilica's choir performs, the music seems to emanate from the building itself rather than from any single source. What makes the Sagrada Familia truly extraordinary is its demonstration of how architecture can become a form of prayer. Every element, from the smallest carved detail to the overall structural system, reflects Gaudí's deep Catholic faith expressed through his understanding of natural forms. The building serves as both a house of worship and a testament to the possibility of creating sacred space through artistic vision. The construction process itself has become part of the building's meaning. Using traditional stone carving techniques alongside cutting-edge computer modeling, the current craftsmen continue Gaudí's work while adapting his vision to contemporary methods. The workshop, visible to visitors, demonstrates how ancient crafts adapt to modern technology while maintaining their essential character. The Sagrada Familia's influence on architecture extends far beyond Barcelona. The building's integration of structural innovation with artistic expression has inspired architects worldwide, while proving that functionality and beauty aren't opposing forces but complementary aspects of great design. The basilica stands as proof that architecture can be both deeply rooted in tradition and radically innovative. Standing in the Sagrada Familia's nave during the golden hour, when the colored light transforms the stone forest into a kaleidoscope of sacred geometry, you realize you're not just visiting a building, you're experiencing a vision of what architecture can become when it serves something larger than itself. This is more than a church. It's a prayer made permanent, a dream carved in stone, and a testament to the power of human creativity to reach toward the divine. From the organic curves of Park Güell to the impossible cliffs of Ronda, and from the underground cathedrals of Ercilla to the volcanic peaks of Teide, Spain has revealed itself as a country where, honestly, every province holds wonders that would be national treasures anywhere else. But what makes these places truly extraordinary isn't just their individual beauty. It's how they combine to create a portrait of a nation that has spent millennia perfecting the art of creating magnificence. Spain's genius lies in its ability to synthesize influences from across cultures and centuries while maintaining its own distinctive character. The Moorish mathematics of the Alhambra, the Gothic ambition of Seville Cathedral, the modernist revolution of the Guggenheim and the visionary architecture of the Sagrada Familia all are without a doubt unmistakably Spanish while representing the highest achievements of their respective eras. These wonders remind us that true beauty emerges from the marriage of human creativity with natural splendor. Whether it's Gaudí learning from trees to create the Sagrada Familia's revolutionary structure, or the anonymous craftsman who carved the Cueva de las Maravillas into an underground palace, or the medieval pilgrims whose footsteps created the Camino de Santiago, Spain's greatest treasures result from the collaboration between human vision and the landscapes that inspire it. What strikes you most about this journey through Spain's wonders is their accessibility. These aren't remote treasures hidden from the world. They're living spaces where contemporary life continues to unfold against backdrops of extraordinary beauty. You can walk the same paths as medieval pilgrims, stand where Columbus planned his voyages, and witness architecture that continues to evolve after more than a century of construction. Spain's wonders also demonstrate the power of preservation and restoration to maintain cultural treasures for future generations. From the careful conservation of the Alhambra to the ongoing construction of the Sagrada Familia, these sites prove that cultural heritage isn't just about preserving the past, it's about keeping traditions alive while adapting to contemporary needs. Each of these 12 wonders tells a story about human potential, our capacity to create beauty, to overcome challenges, to find the sacred in the everyday, and to build something that transcends our individual limitations. They remind us that the greatest human achievements often emerge from the marriage of practical necessity with artistic vision, creating spaces that serve both body and spirit. If this journey amazed you, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovery. These wonders of Spain aren't just destinations, they're invitations to see the world with fresh eyes, to recognize that beauty exists everywhere for those who know how to look, and to understand that the greatest treasures are often the ones we create together. Some places you visit, others stay with you forever. Until the next destination, stay curious.